Let's begin. Today's September 8th, 2024, and we're solving the Daily Turing Machine Puzzle. Today's puzzle uses the following 5 criteria cards. Criteria card 1, 6, 15, 19, and 21. And the puzzle uses the purple verification cards. The code above is your way to get more information on today's puzzle by searching the code on turingmachine.info. Let's go solve. So in the grid above, we've got our 5 criteria cards. On the top row, we've got criteria card A, criteria card B, and criteria card C. On the bottom row, we've got criteria card D and criteria card E. So criteria card A looks at our first digit, the triangle digit, and compares its value to the number 1. So should triangle be equal to 1, or should triangle be greater than 1? Criteria card B looks at our middle digit, the square digit, and will let us know whether its value is an even digit or an odd digit. Criteria card C will look at our 3 digits, triangle, square, and circle, and will let us know which one is the absolute largest. Should triangle be the largest, should square be the largest, or should circle be the largest? Criteria card D will look at our first 2 digits, triangle and square, add them together, and compare that sum to the number 6. So should the sum be less than 6, should it be equal to 6, or should the sum be greater than 6? And finally, criteria card E will look at our 3-digit solution and will let us know a little bit about its structure, so to speak. Specifically, one scenario is that the solution could have a pair of digits, as in the example 131, or alternatively, no pairs, but there are 2 possibilities. One where all the digits are distinct, as in the example 134, or all the digits are the same, as in the example 222. And remember, the objective of today's puzzle is to find that unique 3-digit code that abides by all of the 5 criteria cards we just described. And we're going to start off with an initial proposal of 314. So the first thing I want to test is I want to find out something about that middle digit. So let's go ahead and test criteria card B. Okay, so the Turing Machine does approve of my choice. I did pick an odd 1, so the Turing Machine confirms that yes, square is an odd digit. So let's go ahead and type that up in our notes for section B. And that is that square is an odd digit. Okay, and since it is an odd digit, that means I can go ahead and cross out all of the evens for square. So crossing out 2 and 4. Okay, so next thing I'd like to test is criteria card E. Okay, so again, the Turing Machine does approve of my proposal. Notice that in 314, they are all distinct. So that means that it falls under the case of no pairs. So let's go ahead and type that up in our notes for section E. And we'll say that the solution has no pairs. Now, of course, we don't know which specific instance it is. Is it the case where they're all distinct or all the same? Well, we just don't know at this point. However, since we do have this criteria card C that will let us know which one is the absolute largest digit, that's our clue to say, okay, they have to all be different. Because, of course, in a solution where all the digits are the same, there wouldn't be an absolute largest. So yeah, so we're looking for a solution that has all 3 distinct digits. Okay, and what else can we test? Let's go ahead and let's see, this will be interesting. Criteria card A and D, since obviously knowing what one may help the other. But let's go ahead and test criteria card D. Okay, so the Turing Machine approves of what my choices were for triangle and square. So notice that when I add up triangle and square, 3 and 1, that's 4, and that sum is less than 6. So the Turing machine has just confirmed that yes, the sum of the first two digits needs to be less than 6. So let's go ahead and type that up in our notes first in section D. And that again is that triangle plus square should be less than 6. And since the sum is less than 6, what does that tell us? Well, for either triangle or square, I don't believe any of them could be a 5. Because if you add a 5 to even the smallest of 1, that's already 6 and or greater as you get pick higher and bigger numbers. So let's go ahead and cross out both 5s for triangle and square. Okay, well that does it for this round. We've completed our 3 Turing tests. Now we're going into the phase where we'll be discussing how to construct a good second round proposal. So notice that we did not pick criteria card A, again, comparing our first digit with a number 1. And we also did not test criteria card C, finding out which one is the largest digit. So now that we know that the sum of the first two digits has to be less than 6, we still can't cross out the 4 because you could always add 4 and 1. But let's see, how can we... Obviously, if triangle were 1, then, let's see, is there any other... That would be interesting. If triangle were 1, both of the remaining square values would help us add up to a sum less than 6. But it could be that the 3 is the biggest. It could be something like 1, 3, 2. That's a possibility. What if triangle were not 1? Well, if triangle were not 1, that would force triangle to only be a 2, because anything, let's see, if it were, that would be interesting. If triangle were not 1, I think almost everything would, well, except for 2, triangle 2, square 3, anything bigger would default square to be a 1. That would be interesting as well. Let's see. I don't know if it's worth listing out possibilities. You know what? Yeah, I think I will. Let me start listing out some possibilities. Okay, so let's say that triangle is 1. So we are looking at all distinct solutions. So that would mean that square would have to default to 3. And at this point, if you look at circle, 4 and 5, although larger than square, we wouldn't be able to distinguish which one to pick. So I don't think circle would be the largest. So that would, by default, leave square to be the largest at 3. And because of distinct digits, that would force circle to be 2. Okay? Now, if triangle is not 1, so let's take a look at 2. So we do have 2 possibilities in square, 1 and 3. But again, if square were to be 1, we wouldn't really know how to pick the greatest, or what circle should be, because that would be the greatest with either 3, 4, or 5. So those are all ambiguous, and so I don't think 2, 1 would actually lead us to any true solutions. So yeah, I don't see 2, 1 being viable. So let's go with 2, 3, and that would be it again. And now we just have to pick a circle value, and again we can't pick among 3, 4, 5, so it would default down to 2, 3, 1. Okay, and it looks like those are the only 2 possibilities. So it looks like we'll be able to deduce that square must be the largest. And now it just comes down to, well, what is triangle? So let's go ahead and pick 2, 3, 1 and see what criteria card A lets us know. Okay, so it does not agree that it should be larger than 1. So that means it's letting us know that, yeah, a triangle should be equal to 1. Uh-oh, what happened to the size of my font? No idea. I'll have to fix that later. Okay, so triangle is equal to 1. And so, since it is 1, that means square is 3, and then, yeah, circle is 2. So, so that means that our solution is 1, 3, 2. So let's go ahead. There's just too much to cross out, but again, I feel confident that the solution should be 1, 3, 2. Oops, a little bit of a lag time there. And so, so we're basically deducing that that square is the largest. All right, well, let's go verify our solution of 1, 3, 2. So let's see how we did. 1, 3, 2. Okay, fantastic. And let's see how we did versus a Turing machine. So I believe, so we actually only tested 4 criteria cards out of the 5. So that's always a great indication. So we did B, D, E in the first round, and A was incorrect. So let's go type that up. So B, D, E were all correct. And then A was the only thing we tested, and it was incorrect. And so, yeah, so we beat the Turing machine by 2 questions. So I think, obviously, being able to deduce that square was the largest was just really helped us out. And of course, listing out the possibilities, which really there were only 2. So just a great stroke of luck. But of course, we also picked good criteria cards to test. Well, what do you think? How did you solve it? What did you notice? Were there any other efficiencies that we could have used? Add those ideas to the comments. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up so that more people can find this channel. And of course, hit subscribe to not miss out on any future videos. Well, until next time, have a great one.